Welcome to ESC Fan TV. It's another Saturday night. It's another super Saturday in Eurovision world. We are here to talk to you about Melodi Festivalen. It's the second semi-final in Norway. Ignore Tom, he's just finishing off his tub of ice cream. We'll come to him shortly. It's going to be a great show. Come and join in the chat. You know what to do by now. Just make sure you send your comments through to the chat room. Make sure you click that like button and feel free to subscribe if you want to. Of course, we'd love you to. Wherever you are tonight, usually we're on Facebook. I think we are tonight. We're on Twitter. We're on, Periscope for Twitter, I think, isn't it? We're on YouTube. But most importantly, tonight is all about you. We want you to communicate with us. So leave your comments for the panel and we will endeavour to answer them. Who's on the panel? Let's find out. Hello, as always, to my co-host, Tom. How are you, Tom?
Good evening, Stuart. Yes, I'm well. I have my tub of ice cream. What a semi-final. Do you know what? I only got halfway through. I was gripped throughout it. I was.
Just halfway, Tom.
Running through it. Yes, just halfway.
Just halfway. To my far right, kind of over here somewhere. No, he's not that way, is he? He's kind of here. He's kind of here behind Tom. It's all the way from Denmark. It's Nicholas.
Hello. I think I needed something stronger than ice cream to get through the semi-final, but I'm sure it'll be a great show nonetheless.
A Jæger by chance?
It could be.
Directly below me, kind of down here, all the way from Stockholm in Sweden, it's my good friend Gustav. How are you, Gustav?
It's me, and I'm back. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Very good, very good. Far right and down we have, as always, and her third night running, bless her heart. You must be absolutely knackered, Joe. All the way from the United Kingdom, we have Joe.
Hello, everyone. I'm okay, actually, because let's face it, Norway is my bag this year, so I can't miss this show. You know I can't.
I know you can't. And for the very first time, we're very pleased to welcome, all the way from Latvia, we have Lana. Hello, Lana.
Hi, I'm very excited to be here. I drank only water, but I understand you guys.
Yeah, it was a tough show to get through. We're going to dive straight in to Duel 1 of the evening. And Duel 1 was Tore Petterson versus Kim Wigaard and Maria Mohn. And I'm going to say straight off the bat, because everybody knows by now, I like to butcher languages. So apologies to all the Norwegians out there that I'm going to butcher your language regardless tonight. Purely by accident, but it's going to happen. Just putting it out there. Tore Petterson with the song Start of Something New. Should we take a listen? Let's do that.
So you took me out and you told me your world. Now I like you even more than I should. This could be the start of something new. Yeah.
So Tore is 40. He's from Drammen in somewhere in Norway, and obviously he's in Norway. He's from Drammen, and he was a judge on Dancing with the Stars. He's also a comedian and a jazz singer. What do we make of this song from Tore Petterson? I'm going to come straight to Gustav. Gustav, what did you make of it?
The performance was a bit flat, but I can't help my love for this song. No matter what he does with the song, with the performance, I just love the song and I just want to dance and have a party and be happy. So I was sad to see it go.
What did you make of his suit, Gustav? Were you a fan?
I love Jello. So I approve of the suit.
Yeah, I like the suit. In fact, if he doesn't need it any longer, maybe I can buy it off him. Nicholas, what did you make of it?
I think the song was staged exactly like I think everyone expected it to. I think it's a shame that he didn't really perform it so well, because he seemed like he was one of like the big crowd favorites, and if I remember correctly, Mohn did say that he was quite a big star in Norway. I think he mentioned that on the show on Thursday. So I think this could have gone through, and I do think that with better vocals, it should have gone through because it was definitely the better out of the two songs in this duel. But it's just a shame it fell a little flat in the live version.
Yeah, it did really, didn't it? I just kind of expected something different about the performance. I just had this kind of big band feel about it, and it wasn't, was it? I'm always going to say I wanted to feel something a bit new, but that would just be wrong given the song title. But Joe,
Awful.
whack whack whack.
Yeah, gotta throw it out there. Sorry, Steve.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, we all want something new. Joe, what did you make of this? And were you surprised by the choice of and style of performance given the type and nature of song?
I was expecting that sort of performance. There was one point when I left to go and get my sunglasses to put them on so I could see because of his suit. But to be honest, no, yeah. I mean, I loved it. I did love his performance, but he was so flat. The singing was really flat. So I was expecting him to have been a lot better than it was. I have to admit.
It was a bit dodgy at parts. Lana, what did you make of this?
Well, I honestly thought it was going to be more exciting, and I'm the kind of person who kind of judges the song by the facial expressions of the artist, and I kind of lacked that. Yeah, I did not really enjoy it, to be honest. The studio version was so good, though. I danced around my apartment, like, full on with my cat, but yeah, the live just wasn't it.
It was. I would listen to it in my car on the way to work, and I'm thinking this is a bit Michael Bublé. You know, there's something kind of cool about it. And then, yeah, I felt that as well. I just felt like the actual stage performance, vocally, I thought he was okay. I thought he was a bit shaky at time, but in general, fine. But the actual performance, especially when he kind of started clapping, I just didn't really work for me. Tom, round this off. Tora Petterson, did he do it for you?
Oh, come on, Stuart. What was there not to love and like about this song? Yes, okay, he was a bit flat, but I'll be perfectly honest. I think the emphasis on this song was it was meant to be fun. He was clearly having an absolute ball out there. They obviously took some of the camera work from Lake Malawi from last year as well, with the whole Dynasty-style, Dallas-style split screen thing going on. You know, it was a good, credible entry. Unfortunately, it just didn't quite hit the mark live.
Yes, it didn't. It didn't indeed. Right. So it took on Kim Wigaard and Maria Mohn. So let's have a little listen to this duet.
What can I do? I just want to stay with you. Wonder how I'll ever make it through, knowing that my dreams will not come true. Without you, I'm a fool for love.
So Kim's 31, Maria's 36. Kim's from Oslo, Maria's from Fredrikstad. Both fantastic singers, performers. Kim's has an operatic range. He's performed in cabarets. He was on Norwegian Idol. He was also on The Voice. Maria's worked for tens of years and released 2 albums, one in 2020, 2010 and 2014. I'll tell you what I thought was really cool about this was the kind of styling. I thought the suits and the dress, the dark blue, really worked with the backdrop and that kind of really cool vibe that they were trying to portray. The one thing I didn't really get here was the chemistry, and I just felt that the chemistry was slightly off between them. Vocally amazing, but I just lacked something chemistry-wise. I'm going to go to Joe. Joe, tell me I'm wrong, but I just felt that the chemistry could have been a bit stronger.
Yeah, I mean, I get your point because, you know, when you look at all the VTs and all they've been interacting quite a lot on social media, especially with the fans, especially Maria. And yeah, she's talking about how much she and Kim get on. They've been friends, I think, for quite a while. They've sang a lot, and she is, you know, he is her sort of favorite sort of duet partner. So I was a little bit surprised as well that they didn't interact more, but I don't know whether that was part of the performance, if it wasn't really supposed to be that way, because they were effectively talking about splitting up and really wanting to be together, but they had split up. So it could just be that there was an intention to have that separation. You know, I'm thinking a lot of people are thinking about Iceland in 2012, and I'm thinking about more of like Verona. You know, I don't think there was any chemistry between those guys as well, between Laura and I just think, and that was more of a sort of an angst song as well. So but I loved it. It was my favorite of the night. It was my favorite to win. I said that on Thursday. They sing amazingly, both of them, and I just loved it. And I didn't give it enough hearts. That's all I'm going to say.
I can hear where you're coming from. I think in terms of the song, it's beautiful, and in terms of their vocal, it's beautiful. I think for me, just the chemistry. But let's see what Gustav has to say. Do you agree, Gustav, or do you believe it should have gone through?
I agree with what everyone have said, but honestly, I wanted this to win so much. But we can talk about that later.
Yeah. And Lana, what did you make of this duet?
It was the biggest surprise for me of the night, because the first time I listened to the song, it was at school, and I thought it was like incredibly boring. So I didn't even listen till the end. And tonight I hear this amazing performance. Their vocals were just so on point. I was blown away, literally. But in the beginning, Maria had like really good emotions, and I like that a lot. But Kim, I don't know, he didn't, again, the chemistry, it didn't really show. But there was a great build-up towards the end, though.
Yeah, there was. And Tom, you've been championing this song for most of the week. I feel like it's been forever. What did you make of the performance?
That's because you don't appreciate taste, Stuart. That's
what it is. 2 years.
Fired.
2 years, and you hit me with that.
Throw it out there. Let's be perfectly honest. Anyone who knows me knows I love musical theatre, those big dramatic ballads. And let's face it, I don't think it disappointed. You can argue that there was a lack of chemistry on the stage, but in actual fact, I think the chemistry actually was there in keeping them apart in the anticipation that they were coming together towards the end of the song. And I think they had the complete package. I think it was a real sterling performance throughout the semi-final.
And finally, Nicholas, round this discussion off, what did you make of this duet?
I think what I said on Thursday was that if this needed to go anywhere, this would need a great staging, and it didn't. I'll have to agree with everything that Joe said. This was definitely lost in Verona, and I don't like these kind of entries where it's like it seems like they're flirting more with the camera than they are looking at each other. It's with duets in general. Like when they just do that, like stare at you through the camera, it feels uncomfortable. It doesn't feel right, and I don't know, I feel like after like 30 seconds I was already like, yeah, okay, so it's just another one of these kinds of songs we've seen a million times. It didn't do it for me. I like the ending, but I feel like, you know, that whole like, it felt like it should have built up more to that, because there was definitely some fun, and I like the idea with all the violins and the fire and everything, but it's like, there was just nothing to like keep you interested up until that point. So it's like, you're about to fall asleep, and then all of a sudden you're awakened, you're like, where did all these violins come from?
So thanks, Nicholas. So that's the duet. That's Duel 1, the duet of Duel 1. And so I think what we probably want to do is just have a sanity check and just confirm to ourselves that the right song won. So I think what we're going to do is just go around the panel and just ask each of us to pick one artist and see who we thought should have won Duel 1. Let's start with Gustav. Torre or the duet for you?
The duet, easily.
The duet. Lana?
Duet all the way.
Joe?
Duet, definitely.
Okay, well, Okay, well, let's see if anyone has a different view. Nicholas?
It was Toa for me because this other song, it just didn't do it.
And do I need to come to you, Tom?
Him and Maria.
Yeah, and I would go with a duet as well. So I think we've all roundly agreed, except Nicholas, that the duet was the right winner.
And then everything is as it should be.
What was your point around taste, Tom?
Look, Stuart, that is the lovely thing about Eurovision is that we all have different opinions.
Yes,
You
we
like
do.
Dolly style.
I
and
do.
Other people like decent music.
Yeah, the Swedes, I think, because they've chosen not to put them through. Damn you, Sweden.
There we go.
Don't look at me like that, Gustav. Right, so that's Duel 1. We're going to take a break now, and we're going to say tonight is all about you, the fans. Last week we kicked off our ESC Fan TV Sound Off, and we asked the fans to give their reactions to last week's Norwegian and Lithuanian semi-finals, and this is what they did.
Gadman was better than Lisa.
I hope that this time my favorite won't get eliminated in the very fast duel.
Laurel Barker versus Laurel Barker.
It was okay. It was the best song of the 4.
Slavko's Ponytail whirling in the wind.
And I'm so happy. It's such a great song.
Good show. Right song one though.
You wrote this outside of a Starbucks waiting for your coffee to be called.
Hashtag banger.
I'm still laughing over the Starbucks comment. That was just so funny. So if you want to take part in ESC Fan TV Sound Off, all you've got to do is this. You've got to take a 30-second clip of yourself discussing any of the semis tonight, whether it's Norway, Lithuania, or if you want to talk about Slovenia, that's fine too. Send them through to info@escfantv.com. That's info@escfantv.com. Right, on to Duel 2. So Duel 2, I think it's where it gets a bit harder. Now, the first song of Duel 2 was by Jæger, and the song was How About Mars? Let's have a listen.
How about Mars? How about Mars? How about Mars? How about Mars? Gonna take you on my starship. Oh, you know this ain't a round trip. Gonna take you on my starship. Oh, you know this ain't a round trip. How about Mars?
So Anna Jæger's 26. She's from Oslo. She spent her childhood in Canada and the US of A. Her style is defined as electro-pop rock. And interestingly, the lyrics and melody are written by Roll Rats. And a little bit of Eurovision trivia. Some may know, some may not know that Roll Rats was responsible for one of the UK national selection songs from a few years ago by Goldstone, I Feel the Love. Who remembers that and who even knew that bit of trivia? Joe, did you just put your hand up there? You knew that, didn't you?
I remember it. You said to me, do you remember it? I said, yes, I do. I certainly don't know what the trivia was. But gosh, we were there. We were there in Brighton.
I was desperately trying to find a Laurel Barker in tonight's selection, and I failed miserably. But I found a Roll Rats instead. So yeah,
but you've
Jæger.
mentioned her anyway to get on the scoreboard.
Exactly.
Just noticed that.
Exactly. Hashtag Laurel Barker. Jæger was in The Voice in 2017, and Jæger has been inside me this evening via a glass. Let's talk about Jæger. How about Mars? Nicholas, kick it off.
I was worried where you were going to go with that.
So was I. I dragged the glass bit in.
Okay, so the song. Let's talk about the song, right? Finally, something interesting. I feel like this is what I've been waiting for Norway so far. In my little world, this had winner written all over it. I felt like everything worked. It's one of those few times where we see like those like overlay graphics and the artist actually like gets the cue, because I feel like every time we see this, it's always like they're missing it or they're a little bit behind or something. I feel like she hit everything. It worked out. It looked great. I get what some people are saying, that it was maybe a little bit too much, like everything was just crammed into this, but Yeah, I don't know. I don't see why this didn't get through. This was obviously the most interesting and most memorable of the night, and I feel like this is one of those from this. If we're gonna look back at MGP this year in a few years, this is going to be one of those we remember because it stands out and it's unlike anything we've really seen in a Eurovision national final before. So it was really interesting, and I'm really sad it didn't get through. I don't think that Budget Rasmussen should have gone through instead of this, but we'll get back to that. I'm sure we'll get back to that.
Ooh.
I know he's desperate to talk about Rasmussen.
Obvious.
And I just saw a comment pop up about pink shell suit. Can I just make the point? It wasn't a pink shell suit. It was pink bin bags. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to Gustav. Gustav, can you get Martin's comment off the screen, please? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gustav, what did you make of tonight of Jæger, and how about Mars?
This was the best song, the best performance, the best everything. It should have qualified, and I'm so mad. That's all I have to say because I'm literally shaking.
Why didn't it qualify, Gustav?
Because people don't understand how good it is. They lacked the taste.
Exactly. We're the elite. We get it.
Exactly.
Do you know, is this a bit like Dotter in Sweden a few years ago?
Yes. I was as mad when Dotter was eliminated. So, yeah.
Yeah, we look back now. In fact, Felix's song that year as well. I didn't really get it at the time, and now I look back and think, wow, what a masterpiece that was. And same with Dotter. I think we'll probably look back in time, probably when we get to the final of MGP and realise how good this song actually was.
Yes.
And it's such a shame that this wasn't. In my opinion, I know Tom and Joe may disagree, but for me, this was the final duel. You know, Rein versus Jæger for me was tonight's final. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Tom, what did you make of this?
Just to make a comment on your previous point, I think you're right. I think it was really the final duel because I think, as much as I loved Kim and Maria, let's be perfectly honest, the opinions all week have been for Rein and for Jæger as well. I loved her staging. I thought the staging was absolutely on point. Unfortunately, I think she was a bit swamped by the staging because I thought the song was brilliant. But I think part of me kind of was like, well, if you have that amount of staging, the song suddenly takes a back seat slightly. And I think you actually needed to pay a bit of attention to the song and what was actually going on with the song in order to actually appreciate it. Because I think it was, let's face it, it's a very modern, very contemporary number. And I think that, it may be too modern for some.
Lana, how about Mars? How was it for you?
Well, I was probably the biggest fan of the song before tonight. Like on Twitter, when everyone was saying it's bad, I stood up for it so tall. Like, I was a fan. But then I saw tonight's performance. The staging was kind of awesome. I loved it. But the vocals, I don't know. It felt to me more like talking than singing. And I know that it's kind of the point of the song, but I don't know. I didn't like it. And also the part where she's like, she goes 70 times, how about Mars? She's like moving like this awkwardly for, I don't know, 30 seconds. I thought they could come up with something to do in that period of time. Yeah.
You should have been watching last night's show. We had a Portuguese song with Vez do Now 32 times.
Who counted?
I'm still getting over that one. I'm still getting that one.
Tristan counted.
Yes,
Right.
he did. Yes, he did. Joe, Jæger, how for you, was this the song that got away?
I think no, not really. I mean, I personally didn't like it that much. The thing for me was the fact that I didn't think she sang it very well. And I think that is very subjective. It's whether you like that sort of style of music and the genre and the way she sings it or not. But for me, I think her vocals were off. So I thought the staging was excellent, though. I still think that it was probably slightly too busy, and and I agree with Lana. It was a bit repetitive at the end, but I think that was just sort of the way the song went, and a bit like Portugal yesterday. You know, it's just the way the song is. But yeah, I think she probably should have won that duel, but I don't think she should have won she wouldn't have won the final.
Not to be controversial, but how would she have got on against Tora?
Interesting.
Anyone got any views?
She would have won. She would have won.
Yeah, I think she would have won.
She would have won because he was the worst out of the four of them. Yeah.
And how would she gone on against the duet?
She would have lost.
Yeah.
She would have won.
Yeah, she would have won.
I think she would have lost.
I think she would have lost, actually.
Do you? That's interesting. Okay, so maybe not the one that got away. All right, let's move on then to the final song of the evening, which is Rein Alexander or Hagrid from the Harry Potter movie.
One last time we go to war. We got no fears. We can conquer all. One last time we give it all. We chain our hearts. We're unbreakable. One last time we go to war. We got no fears. We can conquer all. One last time.
Rein Alexander Haug Korschmann is 48 years old. Yes, 48 years old. He sang in the legendary Norwegian Boys Choir and has lived all over the world in the US, Iceland, somewhere in the UK, Italy, and Sweden. He's also played in Broadway. He's played Jean Valjean from the Les Miserables theatre production, which actually, when you kind of take into account his voice, that doesn't come as a massive surprise. One last time we go to war. Lana, what did you make of this?
Honestly, my favorite. You all can be entitled to your wrong opinion. I love this. The emotion was there, the mood. Okay, it may be kind of higher ground or like spirit in the higher ground, whatever. I loved it, honestly. My winner, and I'm so glad it actually qualified.
Nicholas, don't want to draw comparisons with Rasmussen, but seeing as you hate Rasmussen, I'm going to come to you next. Could you tear yourself away from the possible comparisons to like this song this evening?
I think I'm gonna be nice for once. I'm gonna be nice because I knew this was gonna go through, so I was already prepared for this. It wasn't like when Higher Ground won and I was like, right, yeah, it's a favorite, right? And then it actually won and I cried for a few days. But no, I liked the thing he did with the fire. I thought it was cool. It was at least staged like you would expect them to stage it. That being said, it's dated. We've seen it a million times before, and it'll probably win MGP.
Do you think it'll win MGP?
I think so, but only for the reason that Scandinavian people, every Scandinavian person, possibly except me and maybe Gustav as well, seem to love these kinds of songs. It doesn't matter how many Viking things you throw at them, they eat it all up, and I don't get it.
Interesting. I'm not sure we've heard the winner yet, but let's see. Gustav, what did you make of I nearly said Rasmussen again then. But what did you make of Rein?
Why do you have to say it so aggressively?
I did say I butcher languages because you know me by now.
Fair enough.
Okay, so since Niklas was nice, I'm going to be honest. I think the song is fine. Like, it's kind of catchy. I kind of can see myself listening to it. But the performance was horrible. We have seen it before. It was boring. It was too much. It was like a musical theater number. I love musical theater, but maybe not in Eurovision. And let's be honest, when he first got on the stage, he kind of scared me. He looked so angry, and I was like, stop being angry, you scare me. But yeah, that's my opinion.
Fair enough. I can see I might have to come between you and Lana by the looks of things. Just What was the line? One last time we go to war. Looks like it might be kicking off. Joe. Joe.
I'm just looking at Annie's comments. Yeah, I echo her 100%. I think, yeah, he better not win MGP. That's all I'm going to say. I'm really disappointed. Yeah,
I thought this was comfortably the best song of the night, and I'm going to include the next one we're going to come on to in a minute because I thought this was the best song, the best staging. Tom, what did you make of it?
Do you know what? I've got a sneaking admiration for this. I really did enjoy it, and I think, in actual fact, out of all the entries we've heard of, Didrik and Emil accepted, which we're going to come on to. It's actually the one that sounds most like an MGP winner. As much as I maybe wouldn't necessarily like it to be, it has the beat, it has the dancers, it has the. I mean, the performance was outstanding. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. He took that song and he made it into something that was
we've seen
over
before.
And above. Well, yes, we've seen it before, but unfortunately, the public tend to, particularly the Eurovision public, they lap out musical theatre from the United Kingdom. They lap up Vikings from Sweden and Norway and Denmark. They just seem to love the stereotypical cultures that tend to come out from the countries. Just the same as if Ireland send a nice Celtic ballad with a little bit of a fluty instrumenty thing in, they tend to do quite well as well.
There we go. So that was Duel 2. So Duel 2, who did we think should have won? Let's start with Gustav. Jæger. Sorry, I was going to say Jæger versus Rein. Who'd be your pick?
How about Marsh? You don't even have to ask.
Lana, what about you?
What do you think? Rein. I love it.
Joe?
I think Rein. Sad but true.
Nicholas?
Yeager, obviously.
Oh, it's a draw. It's close. Tom?
Rein. I have to go for it. Sorry.
Yeah, I'd go for Rein as well. Marginally.
And can we just do a quick shout out to the guys that have been contributing in the chat room? Because obviously their opinions as well. We have a draw. We have Karen's. Would prefer Yeager to win, but one last time was epic. And a shout out to Iggly Lime. How about Mars? That should have won. And also a big thank you to everyone who's contributing tonight. And you can see all your comments just down there as well.
Yes, you can. And keep them coming. Keep sending your comments through. We'll put them up on the screen. Yes, so direct qualifiers. Now, I've got a bit of a theory, having heard the two direct qualifiers. By the way, I still think Sondre's the best song so far. Just my opinion. Didrik and Emil with Out of Air is the direct qualifier. We know all about Didrik from his time at Eurovision in 2010, wasn't it, with My Heart Is Yours. And his brother took part in MGP in 2013. Let's have a listen to their entry.
What if our love is running out of air tonight? Your silence is the warning sound. And what if our heart can drown in tears of pride? I'll be running out of air tonight, 'cause we were too afraid to fight. And what if I've saved your heart?
There we have it. So that's the direct qualifier. So Didrik and Emmy, what do we make of their entry? It's a bit 80s for me, 80s in style. Nicholas, what do you make of it?
Yes, easily the best song in the final by a million miles so far. I think this is really cool. It's, again, you could say that this was a bit dated, but I feel like it's a different kind of dated because it's like it knows it's dated. Does that make sense? I don't know if it does. But I think this is really cool. I think they sound good together. I think it's a shame. I do hope that they change the staging for the final because I just, in general, I don't like, and NRK has done this a million times before in MGP, I don't like the idea of doing a staging that you couldn't do at Eurovision because it's like, you know, your national final should be the place where you rehearse these things, so you have like a full package that you're ready to send to Eurovision. At least that's what we do in Denmark, and I feel like it's the best way to do it. So I think it's a bit of a shame that they're doing a staging that we know they obviously couldn't do. That being said, out of the songs that we've heard so far from MGP, this is the one that I've listened to the most, definitely, and I hope it does well, because I think it's a nice little song.
And what do you make of it, Joe?
Yeah, I just adore it. The song is amazing. And when you say dated and you go 80s, if it is dated, it's probably more 90s for me. You know, it does remind me of Take That. And as I said to you earlier, I could see Gary and Mark sort of doing the duet there. But honestly, yeah, the staging needs to be changed, definitely. And it isn't just because they can't have kids. It's the fact that, you know, what is the song about? Is it, you know, I mean, there's obviously some brotherly love. The song's about brotherly love potentially. So, but it'd be interesting to see what they do, but they can't put kids up there, you know.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's dated. When I refer to 80s, there's an awful lot of songs nowadays from the 80s that are making a comeback. They've been revamped. That's kind of how I see this. There's a bit of an 80s flavor to it, but doesn't necessarily mean it's dated. I don't see it as dated. Gustav, what did you make of this?
I just have to agree with everyone else. It's the best song so far, but I can't be the only one who see that it sounds like No Air by Jordan Sparks. It sounds exactly the same in some parts, but that said, it's still the best song.
And Lana, your take on Didrik and Emil?
It was very cute, and their vocals are awesome, but I wouldn't agree and say that it's the best song we've heard so far. I have songs that I like much better, but it was cute, I have to admit.
Yeah, it was. Tom?
I quite like the song. I think it's one of the best. I think I agree with Lana. It's not the best, but I think it's certainly up there for me. With regards to the comments about the staging, yes, I think obviously they're going to have to alter the staging, but I think you've got a flavour of what they're aiming for, because are we going to see, if we're going to have like LED screens and things in Rotterdam, if this were to get through, are you going to see those type of dancers sort of like on the screens in the background and things like that, maybe merged with the photos and showing the aging through time? Maybe my creative brain's just running a bit too fast this evening, but I could see that kind of thing happening in order to kind of maintain the staging. And I can't help think about when we discussed about, I think it was Mohombi's entry last year from Melodi Festivalen, when he had his little boy on stage, and we were like, well, if that wins, then they're going to have to actually alter the staging. But I wonder if there was a similar kind of thing in the pipeline there as well.
Yeah, I think you're referring to the Rag and Bone Man. I'm trying to think of his name.
Nano.
Yeah.
Nano, that was it. Yeah, you're referring to Nano. Mohombi, I like Mohombi. Mohombi had his girl on stage. She came out of the video wall.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
But so we have heard 10 songs from Norway. We are 2 semi-finals into the 5 semi-final program. Then we have the final, of course. I'm just interested. Last couple of questions for the team, actually. It's what are we making of Norway so far? This is a new system for Norway. They've really gone to town to come up with a competition which competes with Melodi Festivalen. How are they doing so far? And I mean, I've got to come to you, Gustav, for this really first, given that as a Swede, you're so used to this format in Sweden and being a huge success. How do you think the Norwegians have pulled together with Melodi Grand Prix so far? How's it going?
It's actually, I'm really impressed. It's not as good as Melodi Festivalen, of course, but they are doing really, really well. And I like a lot of the songs, and the show is also pretty good. There's some technical problems, but it's impressive, actually.
Yeah. And Lana, what do you make of the sort of show so far? Is it good for you?
Yes, it's exciting. I have some songs I've added to the playlist and listen to them daily. And I also like the format. The shows are like they're not tiny, but you can fit it in the set schedule, like in a day. and it's not too much. There aren't like too many ads. It's all very like to the point, and I like it.
Yeah. And has anyone got a different view on the staging and the show in general? But I personally think it's been a huge success so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I just want to say that this takes me back to like, because some may remember that I think it was in 2007 and 2008 we had semifinals in Dansk Melodi Grand Prix as well, and it takes me back to that time because while it didn't really work in Denmark, unfortunately, I think it's one of those things where it's like you have to give it some time for it to work. There are a few like hit or miss songs in Norway as well, and the same happened in Denmark. But I think what's really good about having these semifinals, and especially the way Norway are doing it, with having these like one for every region, it really like shows off different genres. We've had like already we've seen some genres that we normally don't see in these national finals. There's just more room for that, so I'm always up for more of these like semifinals because it means we get to hear, because it isn't always about the songs going to the final. It isn't always about the songs going to Eurovision. We can all agree that we have national final favorite songs that we've listened to for years that never even were close to going to Eurovision. So it's just, I think it's fun, and I think NRK is putting a great show together. And like Lana said, it's great that it's like a shorter format, so you can enjoy it and it doesn't feel too forced. I think they're doing a great job, really.
I agree. Okay, final question of the night. Who is in the lead in terms of all of the 10 songs you've heard so far? More so the qualifiers. Who is your winner so far? Let's start with Tom.
Yeah, sorry, Joe. It's Rein Alexander for me at the moment. I think he sounds like a winner to me. And
Joe, I'll come back to you now. Who's your winner so far?
Didrik and Emil, absolutely 100%. Yeah.
Nicholas?
In my little dream world, Jæger is still the one to beat.
Jæger. But in terms of the ones that are qualified?
In terms of the ones qualified, Didrik and Emil is my favorite so far.
Didrik and Emil. Lana?
In my heart, again, Come Alive is still a winner. But if I have to be honest, I guess it's either Wild or Alexander. Because, I don't know, they seem like the Eurovision type of songs. And I like them.
Yeah. And Gustav?
Out of Air, easily.
And I got a completely different view. I think Sondre's song is the best by country mile at the moment. So there we have it. We are 2 semi-finals in, and next week we will be back. My God, we've got a lot going on next week. Let me get this right. We are back on Wednesday as we review the Czech Republic songs, and I think it is 9 p.m. Central European time. Joe, please nod if I got that right. I have. Fabulous. 9 p.m. Central European time on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, because we've had so many comments and so many of you are watching all over the place tonight. We've had comments from Twitter, from Facebook, from YouTube. But because we're bringing this directly to you by the fans, for the fans, we would like you to just like the show, just click the like button, and if you can, just head over to our YouTube page and click the subscribe button too. That'll be fab. Join us on Wednesdays. We review the Czech songs. I think we're back Thursday, are we, guys? We're reviewing or previewing even the semi-final 3 for Norway.
Thursday, 9 p.m.
Are we doing anything Friday?
Sleeping.
I'm sure we can come up with something, Steve.
Are we having a night off?
I will be having a night off, but I'm sure others can.
Yeah. Okay. And then, of course, we will be back same time, 9 p.m. Central European time. That's not right, is it? 10 p.m. Central European time, 9 p.m. UK on Saturday next week. Until then, I'd like to say thank you to my guests. Thank you to Nicholas.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you to Joe.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Great time.
Thank you to Gustav.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you to Lana. First time on the show. You were fabulous. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It was awesome.
Hope we didn't scare you away.
It was awesome. I loved it.
Good. You're very welcome to come back. And thank you as always to my co-host. I will see you Wednesday, my friend.
Yes, see you on Wednesday for some Czech fun.
Exactly. I think the only thing we could possibly do is end the show with a bit of Rein. Or Hagrid, whichever.
One last time we go to war. We got no fears. We can conquer all. One last time we give
So bye, everybody. We will see you on Wednesday.
Bye.